agents of the unexplained. Grab your gear and let's journey into the mysterious world of cryptids and the paranormal. Get ready for an adventure into the unknown. Listen carefully as you're guided through the unexplained and cryptid phenomena that challenge our understanding of reality. Here is your host, Bill Rigby.
Hey, everybody. First time back in a month. I've done a few lives. But tonight, I've been wanting to get these guys on, and things kept screwing up. I almost got Tim to say yes one time, but he was already committed to something else. So I said, because I had a cancellation. But I got the Vogel brothers. Let me bring them in. They've been researching. They've experienced Bigfoot, and they got nice areas where they research up in, how can I put it? Massatucky. Here we go. Hey, guys.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. I had to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, you guys got some people that you've been working with up there. You've been on Small Town Monsters. You guys been researching your area. Start telling the people more about it, because some of these Pennsylvania people don't know nothing about it either.
Oh, we have some similarities there. No, we're involved with a lot of different things. We started kind of really getting involved with Bigfooting, not the whole story, but Bigfooting in general. 2015 or 16, about 16, I guess, give or take. We went out to Ohio. That was our first big deal.
Yeah.
Bigfoot. It was the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. And when we were out there, we went out there with the group Squatchachusetts from Massachusetts. And we were out there with the BFRO as well. And we were brought into the BFRO or into the Bigfoot world in that way, right? Through the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. And so we said, we already had the interest, and then this was just a medium or a venue to expose everything, get it out there and say, oh, wow, check this out.
When we went out to that conference, we actually got to sit with Bob Gimlin.
Yeah.
And have a dinner with him and sit there and have coffee the next day just talking about BS.
Yeah, we're
nothing about Bigfooting, just talking about life.
We were talking about the Navy.
Mr. Gimlin loves that. He loves that. Yeah,
we were talking about the Navy. His Navy days.
Yeah,
that's what we were talking about. Yeah,
it was really, really fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So we got to hear the story right from Bob. We didn't ask Bob to tell it. Bob offered the story up, and it was pretty amazing to sit there having coffee and hearing the story straight from Bob. So
straight from the guy that actually saw it.
Yeah, and of course we asked the questions. Why didn't you shoot? And he literally said, because it looked like a person. Yep. He said it turned around and it looked at us and it was walking away. And he says, you can't pull the guy's he's just a cowboy and a gentleman. He wasn't going to shoot this thing. He wasn't sure what he was shooting at. It was walking away. It wasn't running away. It didn't pose a threat. Everything, he checked all the boxes, and we were lucky we got that footage, and we'll take that.
And it was a great conversation.
That had been awesome.
Yeah.
It was one that wasn't even planned. It just happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of where we got into it, getting into
that really pushed us in that direction.
Investigating and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Along with the incidents that we've had.
Yeah. What got me going, I always believed in the P&G film.
Oh, yeah.
Always. And growing up, I kept thinking, well, there's no Bigfoot in this area. It's all out west or maybe up in Canada. I always thought that.
Yep, we did too.
And, then I grew up. I went into the service. I went and then went into the service, then got out, got married, and became a regular adult, getting a job, but living in the woods, hunting, fishing. Oh man, I loved it. Until I saw a street, kept seeing these tree structures all over the place, from West Virginia, New York, PA, Ohio. And then I started thinking about it, and thank goodness for the internet. I start researching, and that just got my interest going all over again about Bigfoot.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
But that, and I got onto the internet and got into with several groups, got out there, and had my sighting at the first Bigfoot camp out I ever went to. So that scared the living hell out of me at 15 feet away. But
Really,
I'm back
that close, really.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's close.
That's way too close.
That's close.
I
thought 40 yards was close.
Yeah, I'd rather that. But thank God he wasn't aggressive.
There you go.
But yeah, so, and that was at Salt Fork, by the way, guys.
Yeah, no, I've heard that story.
Yeah,
I've heard that story.
that's an active place.
Yes.
Pretty amazing story, yeah.
And I never thought I'd see one there. I really didn't. I'm thinking, how I'll get to hear that. I ain't going to see one.
Everybody's out there
Yeah,
hooting
right.
and hollering,
Yeah.
whooping and whistling,
And
and there it is.
yeah, and it's like, cool. After a few weeks, I did see one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
all right, tell us about your experience.
that's crazy. Yeah.
I guess 2013, we started off in it was a canoe trip. We used to own a guiding business called Tacoma Mountain Outdoors. And that we since retired it because of COVID. We did a lot of outdoor education with schools and programs, things like that. A lot of wilderness trips and various adventure activities that we would do with different grades and whatnot. We'd have 80 10th graders backpacking in the White Mountains with a dozen guides or so, all different places. So it's, different kinds of programs that we'd be doing. So that's what we used to do. And we used to do a lot of trips up in the Adirondacks, up in this place called the St. Regis Wilderness Canoe Area.
Okay.
And it's a non-motorized area. So it's only canoes, foot traffic, skiing, that kind of stuff like that. There's no motors back there.
It's where you go to get away from civilization.
Right. And
My
it's all
type of area.
Yeah, paddle and portage.
Beautiful area.
Yeah. What'd you call it? Massatucky?
Yeah.
Well, the Adirondacks is got 6 million acre park.
Right.
But this particular area is just an amazing spot. So we go up there and we're going on vacation. It's quiet. It's alone. It's midweek. Everybody's in school. Everybody's at work. So we were up there. We chose this time because everybody was gone, and it was going to be fairly quiet. We get up to the trailhead up there, and there's no one in the parking lot. There's no one in any of the trailheads prior to it. So we knew we were up there, and we were pretty alone.
Yeah, the woods were pretty empty because all the schools and colleges started, so they just emptied out.
This is late September
and that's why we went, because we didn't want to be around a bunch of people. Yeah. We wanted.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, and we guided it, so we knew when to go in and when to go out. And this was going to be a quiet time, so we went in, and we were going into this place, and we go set up camp. We paddle and portage into this campsite.
Yeah, we were up on Long Pond.
Long Pond, yeah,
and we went up. Yeah, we did. We paddled up. We were up there for a good hour, and we paddled to a campsite on the left-hand side, and we set up camp. And Tim says, "Well, let's go catch some supper." So we said, "All right." So we get in the canoe and we start paddling back the way we came, but we were on the left-hand side this time. And as he's paddling back, I'm fishing. And the fish were just incredible. They were 5-pounders all day long on a fly rod. And I just said, "Tim, just keep paddling. I'll catch the fish. You just keep paddling."
Of course.
It was awesome. It was a great time. So then we saw this inlet, this little stream inlet, and we were going into this inlet, and there was a dam in front of us. And I said, well, wait a minute. I said, I'm backing out, and we spun it. So he came, so the boat, the kayak or the canoe turned. And so now he was in the back to where the dam was.
So I could fish out of the back of the boat.
And that's exactly what he did. I held us
Right.
steady in the front while he fished over the dam.
Right. So I'm fishing over the dam, and it's a fly rod. So I'm just, fly fishing.
Right.
And next thing you know,
And you could barely see over the dam.
yeah, it's probably 4 feet tall.
You were right there.
I should restart that. That beaver dam that we paddled up to is a beaver dam, not just a
Right.
dam.
I
There's a
figured.
beaver dam. We're in the middle of the wilderness, and it's about 30 feet long, and it's shaped like a bow. And we're at the apex of the bow, and the stream tapers way off in the back.
Yeah,
in
and it
that
goes
end.
back towards a place called
Probably
Pink
4
Pond.
feet wide, and
It's pretty nice.
it's not that big of a stream, but it's dammed up to about a 30-foot pool. So we're fishing the pool. All of a sudden, I catch a fish, and as soon as I catch this fish and start bringing it in, these two trees start shaking like crazy.
No, all hell broke loose. It was that close. All hell broke loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were probably 30, 40 yards from the tree shaking.
I mean, you got to remember, you're up in the Adirondacks, and it is dead quiet.
There's nothing.
We thought we were the only things there,
You're right.
and we obviously weren't the only things there. And I mean, it was these trees, like he says, were shaking like a snow globe. It was
like
crazy.
they were
Two
inside
of
a snow globe,
and they
and the
had
whole
to have
forest
been,
was quiet.
had to have been
Those
8 to
two
10
trees.
feet apart from each other. And we're just looking, going, what is going on? And this, all of a sudden, you hear this screaming and yelling and roaring, all mixed.
So
it was
these two
crazy.
trees are shaking, and this roaring starts up, and it is wicked loud. And now we're in the canoe, and I've released the bass. I threw it out. We're backing up because this thing is.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're listening to. By the way, we have no idea this is a Bigfoot. We have no idea if it's a bear or a mountain lion.
Because you couldn't see into the woods. It's just so
Right.
thick.
Right. We had no idea. All we knew is that this was. It was saying, "Get the heck out of there!
Yeah.
Get out!"
Oh, yeah.
That's and it didn't speak English. It was very clear it didn't want us there, and you could tell that.
Just
and-
between the yelling and the noises that this thing made.
Yeah.
Now, if
I mean-
the if the trees were 10 foot apart, you think it was just one Bigfoot, or could have been multiple?
Well, when
I think it was two.
we actually went back the following year and actually got brave enough to go back to check it out to see just what happened. So we went back and I mean, you literally have to bushwhack your way in there because it's so
thick.
dense.
It's a boreal
Okay.
forest.
And
thick
Those
pines.
two trees were about almost,
8
I'd
feet.
say 8 feet, a little over 8 feet apart from each other.
Yeah, we
And
went
they
back and-
were about 8 inches in
Yeah,
diameter.
we measured them, see how far apart they were.
So there was no way a human couldn't do it. There's just
Yeah.
no way. You couldn't stretch your arms and you couldn't
And
shake
grip them
those
and
things.
shake them.
Right.
There ain't no
And
way.
it's an 8-inch tree. I mean,
Yeah, I
you
mean-
and 7 guys ain't gonna shake that tree like this was. This is an entire forest that's just sitting there
Sitting
quiet,
there, nice and
and
still.
2 trees shaking like this,
Oh yeah, going absolutely.
like a fern in the wind or something, is what it looked like.
It was.
And yeah, it was very, very surreal. When then you throw in the yelling and screaming with the roaring and stuff coming into the water, we backed out. The volume of the roaring was so loud you could feel it in your whole body, actually. So we just backed out in the
It was
lake.
It's like bouncing a speaker, standing in front of a bass speaker and having it bounce off you. That's how it felt as we backed away from it.
Yeah, so we backed out in the lake till we thought we were safe because we thought it was going to come out.
Yeah,
That's
we-
how
we
aggressive
were-
it got.
We were over
Well,
halfway
All right,
across.
one second. Jamie King asked, what kind of sound the screaming was like? Any known type animals that you can tell of?
No,
And since you guys always did excursions out there in the woods and that.
right. It's nothing we've ever heard before.
No.
I've never heard it ever. I've heard it twice there and once again in Savoy State Forest a number of years later. That's a different story. This was a roaring, screaming. That's why I think there was two, because for 10, 15 minutes,
Yeah, it was nonstop.
the tree shaking and the roaring never stopped.
Yeah.
Never, ever stopped.
That was crazy.
It went up and down in volume, tone, and pitch, and you could feel volume, tone, and pitch in your
Whatever
body.
it was very big.
Was it
But
like the
you
Ohio How?
No,
No.
this was like roaring, like,
No,
get the
this
hell
was
out of
get
here.
the hell out of here.
It did not want us there, and it did
Yeah.
not stop. Didn't
Okay.
stop.
Once we got across the thing and we sat there for a while, it all of a sudden it just stopped.
Yeah, 10,
Everything.
15 minutes later, all of a sudden,
Everything just stopped. But it all started because he caught the fish over in the beaver, over on the side of the beaver.
On their side of the fish hole.
Well,
well, we'll get back to the Monday morning
yeah,
quarterback.
that's where
Yeah.
we were headed. But
Yeah.
then we were on the other side of the lake when it finally stopped. And we just sat, him and I just sat there and floated. And we didn't say anything. We were just trying to figure out what the hell, what happened.
We don't know what's making that noise.
We don't have a clue. We've been out here
We're
year
scared
after
shitless.
year. So we start paddling towards our campsite. And as we're paddling, we just kind of looked at each other and went, oh no. We're camped on the same side as this thing just happened, maybe 200 yards away.
A couple hundred yards down, just downstream from this thing.
It was
And,
crazy.
and that's what we were experiencing. And it went on. That was a good 10, 15 minute thing.
Yeah,
Again,
that
we were
was-
fishing. We didn't have a camera, telephone, nothing.
Yeah, we didn't have any of that.
Nothing.
Right.
Just that was what we experienced. We got the hell out of Dodge. So we get back to our campsite. The camping was uneventful. It was, unnerving, but uneventful.
Yeah,
Right.
there was no sleeping.
Yeah, and we got up in the morning and got out of there as quick as we could, and that was really
We
about
did.
it. We didn't talk about it.
Not
We
really.
did talk to the ranger. There was a ranger coming in as we were leaving, and we told him, "Hey, there's some thing out there. We shaking trees, and I don't know if it was a bear or whatnot, or I don't know, but there was something out there making a hell of a racket." And shaking trees and roaring for about 10, 15 minutes. And he says, "Yeah, okay, thank you." And off we went. And that
Oh,
was the
man.
extent of it. Yeah.
That's the thing. I think it was a Bigfoot and they'll laugh at you. Yeah. But
Well, we see
Well,
we
right,
talk
there's
about the
no-
Monday morning quarterback, and we've
Yeah.
had a number of years to sit back and say, what was that? And really,
And why
break
would
it
why
apart.
would it have been there at the same time we would have been there?
Yeah.
Try to figure it all out. And we've come up with, well, it was there the same time we were because it thought the same thing we did, that the Adirondacks will be empty. There won't be any visitors. They're all going back to work, school, whatever.
they were
Yeah.
fishing. I think
Yeah.
there were two of them, and I think they came down the stream from upstream, and I think they were pushing fish from maybe a half mile, quarter mile. I think they were walking down the stream, pushing
Pushing
fish into
to the
that
dam.
beaver pond.
And if you've
Yep.
ever seen the cast of a Bigfoot ham,
Oh, they're huge.
they're enormous.
Mitts, 15 inches around, 20 inches around. Two
Oh
of them.
yeah, they're huge.
Now, if you put two of them, and I say two because that tree was 8 feet apart.
Yeah.
And to be shaking as aggressively and the sounds never stopping,
But then again,
like it
who
didn't
knows?
stop to take a breath. There was it
Yeah.
just was sound. It never stopped.
well, they say as big as their chests are, they can exhale a lot of sound and a lot of
Yeah,
air.
I'm sure.
And that's
Yeah.
how you feel it in your chest.
Well, you can certainly feel it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
absolutely
Felt it.
could.
But I think they were coming down that stream and pushing fish and corralling them in there. And then once they got in there, they could just, as they were forcing them past them, they would just fish and use their hands like nets and throw
I
them up
know,
on the
yeah.
shore.
Yeah.
We don't think that they minded us catching them out in the lake, but once we
Yeah. I mean, you
Went into
imagine
the
you and
beaver
your
pond.
buddy, you and your buddy are sitting
See,
there
Eric,
and you're fishing.
It was Tim that caused the problem.
see,
Yeah.
always, I'm telling you.
Yep.
Sorry, Tim. I had to do that, buddy.
No, it's all right. I get it. I get it. I got
Uh,
5 brothers. I understand.
Yeah. And,
No, so that's kind of the Monday morning or the
Yeah,
going
yeah.
back and thinking
Thinking
about
about
what
it.
happened.
That's the only logical
You know what?
thing that
That
you can
Monday
come up
morning quarterbacking happens no matter what after an experience.
Almost every
Yeah.
day.
You know, I still do that Monday morning quarterbacking on my sighted still
Sure.
to this day.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
been 3 years.
I hear you.
And there's times I
Absolutely.
still get teared up from it. You know, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
I
You
actually
know-
did see this.
Do you know Ernie Davigno?
Yeah, I know, Arnie.
All right. Have you heard
Actually,
this?
I know his story. I was one of the first ones he told.
Amazing.
Amazing
Well,
story.
If he's on tonight, tell him we said hi. or
he said he wanted the link to it for YouTube
good.
and that. So I don't
Well,
know if
he's
he's out there or not.
we're making plans for June. Our festival is June 7th. He's coming up after the festival. Otherwise, I'd have him talk at the festival.
Yeah.
But he's not going to make the festival, but we're going to go back to his sighting. Ernie and I and Eric. We're going to go back to Drake Mountain and who knows what.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome.
That guy's got one of the most incredible stories I've ever heard.
Yes, the
So
hand
it's like,
signals.
Yeah, the whole deal.
Oh,
From
yeah,
whistling, whooping, hand signals,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards. He's a witness to all that stuff right in front of him. Take it for what it's worth, you know?
yeah.
So the guy's got an incredible story. I can't wait to
Yes,
meet
he
him and
does.
go out there.
Yeah, and I very impressive. Very
Yes.
impressive. And I really enjoy listening to that story. And
Yeah, it's very good story.
he has a lot of insight that
Well, for us, it's local.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a couple mountaintops over from me.
yeah. Yes. And the thing
Right.
is, you know, it's gonna bring back a lot of memories for him. A lot more when he comes up.
We'll be there.
Yeah. And
That's got to be incredible. That's
uh,
within feet of it.
yes. His was as close as mine.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's interesting.
So,
Very
Bill,
interesting.
do you go with creature or people? Is it a people or a creature?
All right, here's what I say. What I saw, I presume it was flesh and blood. Did it jump through portals? I can't say because I didn't see it.
Right.
Did it say beam me up, Scotty? I didn't see that either. So that's why I want to study them even more.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah,
Right. Absolutely.
completely understand.
Well, October 6th, I'll be at Hotel Conneaut for a paranormal conference. I was just going to be set up there. But she kind of put down there that I was speaking about the paranormal Bigfoot.
Oh,
righty. I really don't know that much. So I got to hold my buddy Fred Saluga. I said, Fred, I need help here.
yeah.
So he gave me a bunch of information. But truthfully, I cannot say what they really are.
Yeah.
I presume, and I'm going to say this, just presume they are flesh and blood.
Right. I'm with you in that. I'm with you there.
Yeah, but I can't say for sure exactly.
I'm open to the other stuff because we witnessed other things like the orbs and the orbs within the same story. The start to finish, and it's in the mix. So
and only getting maybe one or two tracks from it.
So,
what happened to the rest of them?
Yeah, as they're walking in the snow, where did the tracks go?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
All good
a lot of
questions.
other things that can be related to that. Which, if you're open minded, you know that's
It's
the
possible.
possibility is always there.
All right. My buddy Dave Bruce just asked a very important question. And when I see him, I'm going to smack him in the back of the head with a Gibbs slap from.
Oh, nice. The Gibbs one. That's something in the Gibbs one.
Yep. So, hey, Bill, does Bigfoot like Dr. Pepper? yes, the Bigfoot does, but the Yeti likes Mountain Dew. If you
There
see
you
the
go.
TV commercials for Mountain Dew, get off your. Oh, Dave,
That's
I'll
good.
get you.
That's
And,
good.
but yeah, you always got one in the crowd, you know.
You have to have at least one.
Dave got a hell of a great podcast too, and he's a real good friend.
Yeah.
But he lives on the other side of Pennsylvania from us, so he's a little dry for me. So
Got it. Yeah.
so we
Yeah,
got to
everything
meet.
on-
We got to meet
everything
in the
here in
middle. So I can,
Massachusetts. From where I am, you got the Connecticut River in the middle of this, well, kind of the western end of the state, kind of
yeah.
designs the western end
Yeah.
of the state. Everything past that's Boston. Doesn't matter what town it is, just Boston.
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 Yeah.
We love everybody out there. We've got friends out there, but everybody knows it's just Boston. And they call us vacation land. They don't even care about us. We don't get tax money or any of that. We don't get our roads fixed. They just come out here, go skiing, hunting, here and there. That's about it. It's a drive through.
That's-
Plenty of woods.
I moved back here because my daughter and the grandkids needed help, and we were living down right Chestnut Ridge area, and I loved it there, and I miss it. I want to go back, but we can't because of the grandkids. We're help raising them, and but I'll be down there on the end of the month because they're having it's called Derry Railroad Days. It's the town of Derry.
Yeah.
But the Bigfoot and UFO they're invading. And so I'm going. I got a print from right outside Derry that
nice.
I'll have there displaying.
Very good.
So
Nice.
and showing the people and telling them about it. And actually, it was found right up where I four-wheeled at, constantly going across the ridge. It's like, and I never saw it or saw anything
It's
like
nice.
it.
It's nice to have casts from a local area. When we go off and do local stuff, we've got casts that we bring along. We've got this one here. This is the latest. This was
we just got
a couple of months ago.
I think in March.
There's a stone here. When
March or April. Yeah. It wasn't too long ago.
There's a stone in here. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
That stone, when we cast it, came out with it, and that stone is heart-shaped when it's in there. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
it never broke. The whole cast came out with that stone.
And so
How
this
big is
year,
that? Say
That's
16,
17
18?
inches, 17 inches by 8
inches
inches wide and a 5-inch heel.
Yeah.
5+ heel. So, we sent off pictures to Dr. Meldrum, like we should do.
Yeah.
And, and he says it's got potential,
Yeah.
for a Bigfoot. So he didn't say it wasn't. It's got some potential, which it checks all the boxes. It's ginormous. And the place that we found it in October Mountain State Forest.
We had an
itself to
experience there
Sure.
years
Numerous times.
prior to that.
Yeah.
But again, we only got one track because we believe it was in the water and it came walking out of the water and there was a log there. It stepped over the log and 50 inches from that, there's a step up and it's a shoreline with all high grass.
Yeah.
So you got the one track stepping up and in.
Right.
One track.
And we
Before
found
I
it.
had my sighting, me and Brenda Sproul went out hiking up into the woods. They're out at the reservoir, and we didn't really see anything. But when we went in, we walked right along the wood line there at the reservoir. Turned around, coming out, I says, I'm walking near the shoreline to see if I can see anything.
Yeah.
We found a trackway that went over 100 yards.
Oh, wow.
It was 14 inches long, 7.5 inches wide, and from heel to toe was a 5-foot spread.
Sounds like what they got up in
Dude, we have some friends.
They just
We have
measured
some
out
friends
14
that
inch
are
guys.
they have an area that they're researching.
Similar size.
Richie B and Wojo, and they've got 14-inch tracks. I've seen
Yeah.
14 inches. It's in the same width, same everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But the thing is, when we found that was in the beginning of March. Now it's still cold. Even the water was ice cold yet.
Sure.
No one's going to be walking on that beach barefooted.
Right.
Yeah, right.
There you go. Yeah. Not on purpose.
No.
Right.
And it came out of the woods, walked up about 100 yards, and then hooked back maybe 10, 15 yards, and then went back into the woods.
Good boy.
And it just came around where it could look up at where the highway was and turn around. And it's like, wow.
How big was the span?
About 5 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was moving along. Ron House, Biker Bigfoot.
Biker Bigfoot.
Yeah, good friend of mine. The screams you heard, I was going to ask if it sounded like the Lady of the Woods.
No, it wasn't like a whale. No, this was a roar. This was like a roaring lion.
Yeah.
Monster. I don't know. I've never heard it.
Yeah, you know, if you put all the, like I always say, when somebody asks me, I always say all the animals in the zoo couldn't make that sound.
It was like a roar. It was like a roaring lion.
And the intensity.
And it wasn't a mountain lion.
Was wild.
You know? It wasn't.
When I was up in the Alleghenies, a year ago, September. And the one guy asked me to do a yell. I said, I don't know if I can. I did a roar. And he says, that's an aggressive roar that you gave. I went, okay. So, and it sounded mean. So,
right.
Ron goes, almost prehistoric sound.
Yeah, this was very guttural, very
something
loud.
That big making a noise like that. That was that's how
we could feel that sound up to about 50, 60 yards away, maybe.
It was enough to
feel it.
We don't run from a lot of things.
No,
and we couldn't paddle fast enough.
Yeah. Well,
we knew this was something. It was the tone.
Yeah.
Everything just said,
whatever it was said, get the hell out of here.
And we did.
What, like you said, you guys don't run from a lot of things. I'm down with that because I never got scared a day in my life. I got startled.
Yeah.
Till I saw that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what caused my PTSD. Why did I get scared like that? I've never got scared. Why am I scared? So you know what it came down to? A lot of people talking to me about it. And then it me realizing I'm just human. I'm not superhuman. You know?
Right.
Yeah. So
you witness something that's not supposed to be there, and it's there. And
even though you believe, and there it is. It's like,
Tim and I have had outdoor businesses for years, 20, 30, 40 years almost. And now we're doing it again. And when I saw mine, I couldn't believe it. I was like, that can't be real. I've been in the woods half my life and I've never seen this. And here it is standing in front of me. That changed everything.
By the time I was a teenager, other than when I was in the service, and I was still doing bivouacs, they had me out a lot. But I spent most of my life in the woods, and to actually finally see one was a shock of the world right there. The shock and awe, the shock and awe. And
now you want more.
And you know what really,
but not that close.
When I saw mine, I brought him back the next day and we found a track and a half.
Yeah. Another 17, almost 18 inches, 17 inches.
Yeah. So that just, when I thought I was seeing something, I actually did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mike Bennett saw it going down over the hill away from me, the one I saw.
Wow.
And
Wow,
so
yeah.
I had that validation. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
good.
you
That's
know,
good.
and that's because we need the validation
Sure.
for just
Absolutely.
to settle our own brains down.
Yeah, oh
And-
yeah. So we sit there and talk about different, because we've had different interests or different instances where we were investigating or just happened to have something happen,
Right.
and we sit there and talk about it all the time. And try to get really breaking down into details, like
Yes.
trying to break it down into moments and
Yep.
kind of segment it and try
Yeah,
to really
you really do tear it apart.
yeah
You
to
know?
You got
mostly
there.
to just debunk it. Mostly to say, yeah, it wasn't a Bigfoot, or because I'll tell you, we could tell you for what we believe was a Bigfoot, we could tell you everything it wasn't. It wasn't this or it wasn't that.
Right.
It's like when
Well,
the mountain lion
right.
crossed the road in front of me. It wasn't a polar bear.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't. It really
That's
wasn't.
the thing. I have shirts. I got these mason jars.
Yeah.
You can't read the lettering
Yeah.
on it.
I can
But-
see the Bigfoot on it.
Yeah, you can see the Bigfoot, and it says
Yeah.
it's just a bear.
It's just a bear.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how many people have said to me, "You sure
Yeah.
it wasn't a bear?" I
Right.
spent all my life just about in the woods. Then
Yeah.
turn around. I hunted bears. I had them walk up to me while I'm deer hunting. I'm sitting
Yeah.
down on the ground and then in the tree stand, and they come walking up
agree.
right by me. I know what a damn bear looks like.
Yep, I agree.
And then someone says, "Well, why didn't you get a picture of it?" Who in the hell's thinking about taking a picture?
I get asked that question all the time. And
Yeah.
it's like by the time you actually realize what you're looking at, it's done and over.
Thank God. Yeah.
Then you're grabbing your phone and
Yeah,
gotta
right.
put it. Got to get the camera up. Give it this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No,
These
I
people-
agree though.
Hey,
you know what
Ernie's
you're
out
looking
there.
at.
Hello, gentlemen. It's great to see you, and I see you really do like your coffee, Tim.
I told you, Ernie, I'll put a fresh pot on for you when you come.
All right. I know he heard you. But yeah, the thing is,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out there with him. That's gonna.
oh
be
yeah,
that's gonna be a trip.
oh yeah. And hey, Ernie, that's going to bring back a lot of memories to you, brother, when you get up there with those guys. But yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
the realization, the shock and awe, and then you're questioning
Absolutely.
yourself, and then you turn around and go, why is these people asking me dumb questions? Like, why didn't you take a picture?
Yeah.
Who was thinking about taking a damn picture when it's 15 feet from you and just scared the living hell out of you? All you can think about is getting the hell out of there.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Taking the next breath.
Yeah. But yeah, but
Yeah,
then
it
with
just
Ernie's
doesn't- it
sighting,
just doesn't work that way.
no. And then with Ernie's sighting and
Right.
everything that happened, I'm glad he was smart enough to understand the hand signals. I really am.
Yes.
That's, or he wouldn't be here to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
Could be a
They
David Pilates show.
Yeah. Now
We
I'm going
like
to ask
Eddie.
you something that was asked to me a lot.
Sure, sure.
Did you smell it?
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
smelt it at
Mountain.
October Mountain.
Okay.
I saw it in Savoy, but when we had an expedition in October Mountain,
2018.
yeah, and there were about 12 of us there.
Right.
And we were there about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And it was just a misty rain out. And we were on the left-hand side of the pond. And we were kind of spread out, and there were 4 or 5 guys up along the water with the FLIRs, and they were just kind of scanning, looking at the shoreline. And this guy, Chuck and Dave McCullough, were standing behind us. And Chuck says, "Hey, come on over here for a minute." So we walked over to Chuck, and he said, "Do you smell that?" All of a sudden, you could smell a musty. I smelled a musty smell, and then a couple of the people up in front turned around and says, "I smell that thing on the other side through the FLIR."
At the same time, we're smelling it.
At the same time, we're
wow.
smelling this. So we're whatever we're watching, like Tim was saying, we call it the pacing Bigfoot,
Yeah.
because it would walk up this log, stop, turn around and walk back, then walk up a little further than it did the first time and walk back. And it did that 3 or 4 times until it got to the end, and then it was gone.
The odor was gone.
And the odor was gone. And we were like, what happened? So we're just kind of standing there, and we're kind of scanning the shoreline, and then all of a sudden there was a light at the top of this
No, it was in the middle of a tree, about
tree.
150
Yeah.
feet up, maybe 50 feet up.
it was just a ball, and it was a light blue ball. But it was not, it wasn't shining the light, it was holding it in, and it was like looking at a light inside of a ball.
Huh.
And it just sat there, and it
Crystal
started
blue.
and it just sat there, and it started moving across the treetops for about 60 yards or so, and then it just gone. And there were 12 people standing there watching this happen. They got to look at it through the FLIR. They got
We
to
watched
smell
it
it.
for 5 or 6
Yeah.
minutes, pacing back and forth.
So we
And
saw it, smelt it, and then we saw this orb just pop up out of nowhere, and
Well,
we have one track that was cast.
There were 6. There were 6 tracks, but
Yeah, you
none of
couldn't
them
cast.
were really good. And we did cast 2. One
They were
was
in-
junk, and the
Yeah, they
second
were
one
in high grass.
actually turned out to be
straw
a good one.
grass.
No, the third.
well,
The last one was the best one.
yeah.
So
and
we got
we've got
one
one.
track out of that.
Well, I know where I had my sighting at the group camp area there at Salt Fork. Following April, I put on a camp out there. Invited all these people to come just to camp out, BS, share their stories. You know,
Yeah.
if they want to go research, they can. Well, the one guy I really wanted to meet, I followed him a lot. He came, Jay Fouch. And he was showing me pictures. And some people criticize him with some of the pictures he got.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, some of them, yeah, they can be questionable.
Yeah.
But the other ones he showed me, you know what you're looking at.
Well, there you
And-
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
and he says, "Oh, I got to get back in the car and get these other envelope out with pictures." As he turned to get in the car, he's reaching in. A howl let off over the ways over there. And he turned around and said, "You heard that?" He says, "Of course I heard that." And we're looking and listening and all that. All of a sudden, we saw 3 orbs.
Wow.
Just moving along. They're rotating. They were white. They were about the size of a basketball, maybe a little bigger. Going through trees, not around them, going through. And it's like,
Yeah.
now, this was a few hundred yards away that we're watching these.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't believe this crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your-
What? You know,
The orb we saw, it was about the size of a beach ball, maybe. It was
Yeah.
very large, crystal blue, pops on, and it
Yep.
literally just went up the tree stump, basically followed the tree all the way up. And it didn't deviate and go around tree branches.
No.
So, and this is a pine, a big white pine. So it's
Yeah.
got rolled branches all over.
yeah.
And this thing just went straight up through all the way to the very top, and then all the way across,
Yeah.
kind of like you said, maybe 5 or 6, 7 trees or so across. Maybe we saw for 4 seconds, and then it disappeared.
And at first I was thinking, all right, I'm watching these orbs. Oh, coon hunters.
Yeah. No.
I
this
start
was
saw
no-
them going through trees and stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
that ain't no damn coon hunter.
No.
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 So,
No.
yeah,
Yeah. When I saw the day before I saw my Bigfoot, I saw a red. I saw a orangish yellow orb right here at the camp.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
standing there with a gentleman and his son, and him and I just kind of looked at each other, and I'm saying to myself, that's just a field. There's no light over there.
Right.
And I'm trying, because I've been here a billion times, and I look back at the guy and he looked back at me, and we just kind of looked at each other like, what in the world is this thing? And it was the size of a beach ball, and it just slowly went up in the air and just gone.
I know that's weird. All right.
And that was an orangish yellow one. So there's two
And
different
prior
colors.
to that,
Yeah.
this is all during an
An
expedition.
expedition.
Prior to that, we had a school group up here in the camp, and they were checking out, and they came up to me. I'm the ranger at the camp, so they were coming up to me
checking out.
telling me, hey, these people are yelling at us and throwing things at us out in the woods, and the kids got out of the woods, and the teachers are coming up to us.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, there's no one in camp. Are you sure? She goes, yeah, they're yelling at us. And so we went back there with a group of people.
So we all went looking for it.
Didn't think,
But
but the orb,
That's
and
what
there was
started.
a Bigfoot back there potentially aggravating, maybe not aggravating, but checking out the kids potentially, because it was students back there.
right,
youth.
they were just kids.
So, and then to have the orb and his Bigfoot experience, and
All in that
are they
same weekend.
together? I don't know. We've got a couple of instances where they are.
Yep.
Doesn't mean they are. It just means that they were together
Yeah.
during these two
Yep.
particular coincidence.
Or have it just vanish.
well,
See it and have it vanish, and there's nothing there.
yeah. It
A couple of tracks and poof.
You know.
It really
Just
makes
like
you
you.
wonder.
Right. It makes
Is
you
the
wonder.
Bigfoot actually doing this or expelling some type of energy? But
Yeah.
Ernie goes, I believe both of these gentlemen are involved with teaching children all about the watershed, a very noble cause.
They are. Yeah, very
Yes,
good.
we are.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's our business, the Cobble
Yeah.
Mountain Critter Project. It's all about
Yeah.
the watershed. Yeah.
Yep.
Teaching them how to be good stewards.
Yeah.
How to
Yeah.
respect it. They live in the area that they should know how to respect it.
Yes.
It's done a lot for, I know me. I
Just
did.
education itself.
Your watershed starts off with schools, parks, neighborhoods, creeks, things like that you're going hanging out with.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about a watershed. You just go and hang out with your little buddy, when you're 8, 10 years
Exactly.
old, and building a dam and going fishing. You're not thinking about the watershed. So we're starting to bring it into it. As I got older, I got into canoeing and kayaking and backpacking and rock climbing, and then all of a sudden we've got an outdoor education business.
Yep.
Put it all together.
So,
Are you guys going to, I know the other part of your business you closed up because of COVID. Are
Right.
you going to reopen that up again sometime or no?
No, we do select things now. We don't do the classrooms and things like we
Right.
used to. The professional certifications. We used to do all that stuff, but from wilderness first aid.
Will we do a paddle portage Bigfoot outing? Yeah, it's a good possibility.
Yeah.
We can put one of them on.
Next month, I'm going
Yeah.
up for my wilderness first aid training. When I
Yeah.
come back, we'll offer a non-certification training. There's a couple local hiking groups. I'll put it on to our local area here for the Bigfooters. First aid, it's one of those things that everybody that goes out in the woods should have the basics on.
Yes.
Just-
And a good friend of mine
Absolutely.
from Erie, Pennsylvania, he's with the Erie Bigfoot Research Group. And
Thank you.
he goes on about when you ever go out on an expedition, you got to have someone, or if not several people, knowing first aid.
Oh, without a doubt.
And I went, yeah, I kind of agree with that. He goes, what do you mean, kind of? I says, I was emergency first responder. He
Mhm.
said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
So you're the
Yeah.
first guy that shows up when they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but hopefully nothing happens to you
yeah.
because now you're dependent on them.
No,
Yeah.
you know as well as I do as a responder,
Yeah, the more
primary
people that know,
care,
the better.
first care is the most
Yes.
important.
Yes,
So if you
Yeah.
have, that golden hour we talk about, if you're past that golden hour, you should have somebody and the first aid kit and the skill sets to
to
use,
use what's
Simple as
in
that.
that kit. But
yeah,
you know,
available.
if you're going to go out in the woods, you really should just get the basics.
Yes.
I mean, at least get that. You know,
Yep.
because you never know. 90% of the time you're not using it on yourself. You're using it on somebody else.
Someone else.
That's what it's for.
And
And you really should. Because you could be out there and next thing you know, you walk upon somebody that's going to need you.
well, that's happened actually.
We've had that.
I had a student one time,
I
we're
did
up rock
too.
climbing, and we're sitting there. It's winter time. It's just getting into winter, and he's wearing a one-piece Carhartt suit. We're sitting there, and we're standing up. We're not sitting. We're standing up. We're talking to each other, and we're having a good conversation. And next thing you know, he's screaming like somebody just punched him in the face or something. I have no idea. All of a sudden, he's just screaming, and he's on the ground, and I'm like, what is going on? There's no mechanism of injury. There's nothing that happened. All of a sudden, so I'm going through my first aid skills. You know what happened? You know, check, call, you know, all this stuff. When I'm checking them, it turns out when this kid was talking to me, he turned sideways and he blew out his patella. A little floaty below the kneecap.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk, right? Here we are having a conversation. Dude turns sideways and boom, he goes down like a bag of rocks and he's screaming. And you know when they're in pain. There's a no, you could tell when it's pain or bullshit.
Yeah.
And this was a no-brainer. So go ahead.
My wife ripped her Achilles.
Oh.
So and she went down like a bag of rocks.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It was in our van, and she landed on the bunk in the van, and just screaming and crying. And like, what happened? What happened? And
well, I didn't have that luxury. We're 700 feet up on the mountain, and we had to use a rope to get down. So, now we have to get this kid. Now I don't know what's wrong with him. He's just screaming and stuff. So we got down to the point where we're checked, the full body check. And I get down to where I find it. And I don't know what's wrong. I just know it's right there. So now we do the big buff and ugly, big, ugly, fluffy. And we make a big Boy Scout wood splint, right? 2 logs, bunch of shirts, pack it in, fluff it up. And then we put them on a tarp. We set up a belay, and we're bringing them down the mountain on a belay, and we get them down. I have another guy get the van, and then a whole bunch of us, managed to get this guy back through the woods, back to the van, and we're going to Bay State Hospital. I think it's Bay State, right? Down there in Springfield, Bay State, and it was Bay State. So, anyways, we pull into Bay State, and we called the school. It was working for a school at the time, an adventure education director. And so we called the school, let them know what was going on. They called ahead to let them know that we were coming. We get to the emergency room. They meet us. Everybody, we all go in. We're sitting there, and the doctor comes in, and he's looking at everybody. And Jose's got his leg up. They got him in a wheelchair, and the leg splint all, he's all like, what the heck is that? So the doctor comes in, and he looks around. He says, who did that? And everybody points at me. And he says, so you must be the Boy Scout. And I said, yeah, guilty. I'm the Boy Scout, but it worked. It was good. It got him to where he needed to be. And so first aid, right? It's something, here we are having a conversation, and it was a simple twist, and the guy blew out his patella.
Something that you really should have because you just never know.
Yeah. From CPR,
you got to remember, most people are out there bigfooting, and it's nighttime.
Yeah.
I mean, so many things can happen, from a twisted ankle to a stick in the eye.
We've had it happen.
All right, guys, I can honestly say I'm very proud of myself because of that training I had.
Yeah.
But I actually ran backwards watching the Bigfoot walking away as I was going back to my buddy Mike and Debbie back behind me. But 90 to 100 paces behind me, and I didn't fall down. I'm 62 years old. Yeah, right. I was 62 years old. I would have broke a damn hip. But seriously,
that's good.
Someone should have the basic training.
Yes. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
at least one, but the more the better.
For us, we were responsible for clients. We were taking people out. We were a business. So to not have that skill set is just crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
To go where we went is nuts not to have it, because you're out there, and I mean, back then we didn't even have a cell phone.
Yeah.
You know, so you were dependent on each other.
Yeah.
And you're lucky if you did have a cell phone, you had reception.
Right.
And out there wasn't any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the spots down in Indiana County where I went did not have any.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, we had a whole
Always
couple
trust
buddies
yourself.
out from wrecking their quads back there and that. And
Oh yeah.
It's
No
always
fun.
fun till hang, you know.
yep.
And then you got to be prepared to deal with the whatever shows up. And that's, you know, we play the game what if all the time. What if this happens? You're hiking and what if this happened? Or what if this happened? What if this happened? Or you're walking with groups and you put it out to the group, you know.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do if this happens? And sort of, you know, it's kind of like verbal training, but if something happens, God forbid, maybe that restore, oh, I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, you know, maybe they'll retain what they heard, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You know, you gotta keep your mind clear in case something does happen and be able to respond to it. And granted, you can't be prepared for everything.
No.
Yeah.
But you can try like hell.
Yes.
Right. Well, for like squatching, when we go out, if we're doing something, we've got multiple people. Today we've got radios. We can communicate pretty good. We've got recorders and FLIRs, and you know we can set up and you know we can be pretty organized.
Yep.
And do it pretty good. Back in the day when we were just starting out, we didn't have all those luxuries. We were just out, you know, hopefully knocking and calling and
just to get a response,
waiting for a reply. And
like I told you before the show, most expensive hobby I have. Because you need
absolutely true.
You don't need it, but you want the players. You want everything,
right?
You know?
Yeah, you want to make that encounter just as genuine as the first one you had. You just want a better one. You know, I mean, as close as your one. I don't know how better you want, but I mean, you want that
farther away. A lot farther away. Believe me.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's not that close. But no, seriously, I'm glad I had that experience, but I don't ever want that experience that close again.
And Steve, I would just like to get a better look at what I actually saw. I know what I saw. I just want to get a better visual of it.
Detailed stuff.
You know?
Right.
You know?
I mean, it was 9 feet tall, almost 9 feet tall, as wide as a sheet of plywood. You know? And I got a track that's 17 inches long, you know. It's crazy.
Well,
that's a big boy.
The one I saw, a group of us, and I didn't go by myself, a group of us went back the next day and measured up on that tree that it was next to when it stood up.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was around 7 foot tall. It was about 4 feet wide. The hair was brown, dark brown. The skin tone was a darker brown.
Yeah, it was dark. Whether it was dark brown or black, I couldn't tell you, but because it was dark.
Yeah.
But I agree with that.
Yeah. So I did not look at the eyes.
No, not much detail.
Yeah, it was very muscular. The hair was 4 to 6 inches long, but covered the body pretty good.
Yeah.
I did see, like from here, it had the deep socket in the eyes, but I didn't look in. Had the boxer's nose, I call it, the big flat nose.
Yeah, yeah.
The head wasn't so conical; it was more rounded, which kind of threw me off some.
They don't have to be, you know, we got all the
Well, I learned that a lot more research than that. I did learn they're like humans. You know, we all look different. We all got different
Exactly.
color hairs. Look at this. I got this beautiful gray, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got plenty of that.
But I used to be medium brown, but now it's gray.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, you got redheads, browns, dark hair, light hair. You know,
Exactly.
and you got the same in the Bigfoot world.
Yeah, different builds, different heights, all
Yes.
kinds, different weights.
Yeah. We have reports here, different color ones as well.
Yes.
From
Absolutely.
red,
To white.
red, black,
Yep.
black, jet black to white to gray,
Yep.
different
Yeah.
sizes. My wife and I, we were driving through Cobble Mountain Reservoir, and we were down by where the dam is, looking across the river, and it was shallow. Meaning it was a drought, and the water line had gone down, and it exposes a lot of the shoreline. And we could clearly see something white come out from the road. Hey, Ernie, it was at Wildcat Road. We were at Wildcat Road, and we were looking across the reservoir from where that dam or way station is thing. And so we were looking across the way, and we saw this. Actually, my wife saw it, brought it to my attention. She said, "What's that?" Because we'd never seen it. We do. And let me back up. We do a squatch ride. Remember that squatch ride I told you about?
Yes.
Well, we do it 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So we know the woods there. So when this thing was white and it popped out in the middle of a summer green image, everything is green, and there's this big white thing. It popped out and it stood out. So she said, "Hey, what's that?" We stopped the car and we're looking, and this thing walked out from the woods, bent down at the water line, got up, and walked back towards the water, or walked back towards the woods. And that was it. Now, Cobble Mountain Reservoir, you're not even supposed to stop your vehicle.
Yeah, right.
And the state
Right.
police, but it's a drinking watershed
Right.
area. So it's no nothing. It's
Right.
drive
Yeah,
through only.
it's been pretty strict since 9/11.
Yeah. So it's got a lot of woods all the way around it, including the camp that we're in here in Russell, Mass.
Yeah, it's all
to
protected.
Blanford, Russell, Granville, tons of woods. So so we saw a white one right here potentially at the Cobble Mountain Reservoir. So like you're saying, there's probably different variations of species throughout the country.
There's You
And I
just
believe
like
that.
just like from east to west, people are different.
And that's, we were talking earlier about sharing information. This is one of those things about sharing that information, getting more details, what's out there, what do we have, kind of getting together in this.
Yeah, what's the
Networking.
difference between ours and yours?
Yeah,
Or-
networking and coming out
Yeah.
with a product that says,
Yeah.
oh, well, we've got something here and similarities here. I think
Right.
we're kind of there. We're kind of doing it via this stuff. But there's nothing kind of cohesive. It's a bunch
Right.
of
Right.
stuff
That's the thing too. And I say this all the time, and people that know me know I say this. Sharing is caring.
Okay.
And let's care about getting the knowledge and sharing that knowledge.
Yeah.
And like with the one I saw, the trapezius muscles, you couldn't even see a neck because of the trapezius muscle. The arms, and Arnold Schwarzenegger have been proud of this thing. But the legs did not match the body.
That's what I've heard. That I've heard the
That's
same
weird.
thing.
The legs were all not
Smaller.
yeah. And it does not make sense to me.
Yeah. I've heard
Yeah.
the same thing.
The only thing I keep saying to myself, it was a juvenile. It wasn't fully developed.
It's very
I don't
possible.
know.
Yeah.
They have to grow up.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have tracks from Savoy. Going back to your black bear thing. Black bears, the foot, the way a foot on a black bear is the big toe is on the outside of the track.
Yes.
It's not the inside of the track.
Right.
So when people are sitting there and they're really quick to tell you, oh, that's a bear track, that's a bear track. Well, look at the big toe, look at your instep, and then make a decision. There's a lot at reading a track of a bear track and a person.
You can
track.
see the claw prints.
Yeah.
And you can see where the double step, because that's when it makes it look like a Bigfoot.
Right.
True. I posted a couple of the double steps pretty clearly that make that kind of an argument. But this year, the ones we took up in Savoy after 4 days of rain, we came up to a print that was right next to a puddle. And it was actually Labor Day 2 years ago in 22. And we had been pushed out of the woods a couple times. Long story short, we're going
that whole
back up.
weekend. Yeah, we got with that weekend. We got pushed out 3 times.
Yeah, and we went back up, and we found
That's
these
cool.
tracks. And when we found the tracks, it was raining. When we found the track itself was dry.
Yeah,
there was no water
it's
inside.
It's like if you were.
And then we found
like
2
you
tracks.
stepped right in it. Just
It was
within,
a fresh
within,
track.
within
Let's put
minutes.
it that way. If you've been in the
It
woods,
was super fresh.
there was no water
It
sitting
was
in
like
it,
a sponge.
and it was raining, and it had rained for 4 days. So
Yeah.
whatever was there just went.
And it was
Pushed
right,
it out
whatever
and
it
off
was,
the
it was
woods.
right in front of us.
You was right behind it.
This comes with whistles, taps. They weren't wood knocks.
Yeah.
They were like tap, tap, tap,
Yeah,
tap.
they were
3 or
little.
4.
They were little knocks,
Tap, 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 tap. All different places.
but it pushed us out 2 or 3 times before we actually got in there to see this.
Right.
And then
we
we got the
actually came
cats.
back the next day to get it. We came back the next day and we were casting those tracks
while they're dry.
while they were drying. I said, "Come on, let's go up," because where my visual experience happened right there,
Same place. Allen
exact same place.
Savoy State Forest.
So I took them in and I stood on the same rock where I stood and I saw mine, and we're talking to each other, and out of nowhere, I mean, it's dead quiet now.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, there was a knock, a solid knock, maybe 80 yards, 100 yards in front of us.
Mhm.
And it was just a Louisville slugger pow.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you heard something get up in like 5 or 6 places, got up and just started moving, but nothing was moving.
We didn't see anything.
Yeah, we didn't see the trees move. We didn't see any, but you could hear it get up and just start moving.
And there was multiple spots where it was moving. So you had this
That's
wood
crazy.
knock and then movement. throughout the
Solid
woods.
wood knock.
So,
There was no doubt about it.
and this is the next day. We went up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We're
Yeah.
pouring casts at 6 o'clock in the
I
morning.
said to him, I said, if we get up early enough, we'll beat the kids. They'll still be in bed.
Yeah.
You know, because we figured it's the juveniles
There were
pushing us
small
out.
tracks. There
They
were
were
small
just small,
tracks.
yeah.
There was there wasn't very aggressive
No,
things that were happening, but they were aggressive to the point where we left at one point.
Yeah.
Actually twice. And
yeah, because we just couldn't. We were like, "What the hell's going on?"
but that was, kind of going back to the bear track. That bear track, the big toe, that's a key thing
That's on the
these things.
outside.
Bear track, the big toe. Look for that big toe. Make sure it's
That's
in the
the thing.
instep. Get your stuff right.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. A lot of people don't study tracks.
Yeah, no, they
Yeah.
should.
If you're going out there to investigate, study the tracks.
And there's a lot that
Study
looks very
different type
similar.
animals.
We have run into many that were very similar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you said, we
But we
worked
tear it
together here at
apart.
the camp. I've had at least, I don't know, probably a dozen bear encounters, and you just blow them off. They all run.
Yeah.
It happens when you're working in the woods. Those
Yes.
things happen. And bears don't stick around. They don't yell. They don't growl. They're gone. They
Yeah,
run.
they-
The only time I know a black bear to get very aggressive is
Yeah.
to get near a cub.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to downplay it.
No.
That's a certain circumstance where
only-
they
Yeah.
are aggressive.
But they 99% of the time they don't want to be near you. They take
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, and
And-
most of the time you don't
Not
even
at
see
all.
them.
A
Most of
year
the-
ago, this past June, 4 blocks over, a 400-pound black bear was in town. So I go down to where it's at, and it's in these bushes right next to these people's house. And the cops are there. They got the roads all blocked off. I'm standing in the one guy's front yard with him talking about it across the street from where the bear's at.
Yeah.
This young cop gets out of the cruiser, comes over and says, "I need you to get in the house there." I says, "I ain't going in that house. I don't live there." Get on the porch. I says, "I ain't getting on his porch." He says, "You don't know what that bear is going to do." I says, you want me to tell you what it's going to do? He looked at me, he says, what? I said, okay, let me tell you something. I spent a lot of time in the woods, probably more time in the woods than your
Right.
And he just looked at me kind of funny. I says, that bear, if anyone goes up to get near it or spooks it bad enough, it's going up in that tree that's in those bushes there. Oh, how do you know that? I says, I do. I
Right.
says, and I'm not leaving, and I'm not going in on that guy's porch. And the guy's standing right next to me. He said, I ain't going on that porch either. It's his own porch. But cop got mad, went back in the cruiser, sitting there. Game wardens finally showed up. And the one walked up and he's looking. Yeah, it's lying right there. It's a good size one. He goes back to his truck, gets the tranquilizer gun, loads it with the heavy dart.
Yeah.
And he goes walking back over. He shot it in the butt. It shot up the tree. And I looked at that cop and said, well, oh, that cop gave me a dirty look.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, that's what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's going to run from humans. It don't like humans.
Doesn't
Yeah.
want to have the interaction.
9 out of 10
Yeah.
times, all the critters will avoid you if possible.
Yeah.
It's by chance in cross meetings on a trail.
Yeah.
Oh, you're upwind, downwind. They don't wind you. If they wind you, you're done. They're
Yep.
not going to. You'll never see them. But if they don't win them, and you happen upon them, well, then it's just surprise, surprise. And
Yep.
generally, they run. Generally.
For the folks that don't understand what winding means, they get your scent downwind.
Right.
They're downwind from you.
Correct.
Exactly.
That's for some of the people out there. But the thing is, too, like you're saying, 90% of the animals will run from you.
Right.
And they do. And now, Eric, the one you saw,
Yep.
did you hear it
No.
move?
No, I didn't even know it was there until it teeter-tottered with me. When I leaned to the left, it leaned. And I said, what was that? And when I stood up, it stood up. And
Yeah.
oh my God, it's right in front of me.
Yeah.
But having said that, it was raining, and the ground it was pine,
Yeah,
pine, and rain.
yeah, but there was no noise. There was no,
No.
as big as this thing was, there was no noise. Even when it took off,
But it did leave a 2.5 inch deep track. That was
Yeah.
nice.
Well,
Yes,
that's
it
the
did.
thing. People ask me, did I hear it? Bless you. If I heard it come up or leave. And I went, no.
No,
But
we didn't hear it. But what happened was we have two guys that follow a group. They lag behind so they can watch the group to see if the group is being watched. So there were two guys behind us. There were father and son team up in front of us. And we got up to this place called Balance Rock. And when we got there, we had this little kid make a howl sound or a whooping sound. The second that he stopped, the two guys that were behind us come running up and says, hey, we've got whistles back here. The guy up in the front with his son came back and says, hey, we've got knocks. So we just kind of, about 12 of us kind of spread out into the woods. And when we did, I have an orange rain jacket and everybody else was in, blue or green or whatever.
right.
So I stuck out like a sore thumb and I was on that little knoll on that rock. And yeah, it was, I believe that we had the one in the middle. I think there were three. I think they caught the one in the back that had the whistle and they got the one up in the front with the knock. And I happened to get lucky enough to see the one in the middle.
Well, that's
Because
thing.
they were, the whistles were back here. The knocks were in front of us. And what I saw was in front of me. So it had to be three. And it
They
was
were
in the
keeping
same
an eye
place
on
that we had the juveniles.
Yeah,
And
they're
people were
keeping
there
an
to
eye
hurt
on
the
you.
whistles. I wasn't there.
I
was
had
fishing.
there were 12 people that were there. It was an expedition,
Yeah.
you know, and they said that this all happened, you know, and
Well,
and when we saw it, when
You and
it
John.
left, there were 2 people that saw it. I saw the upper half, and John saw the lower half. He saw the legs move, but there was a tree laying there, and that's
Right.
why he saw the legs, and I just happened to see the upper half. And we were on 2 different angles, and we came into the same GoPro frame at the exact same time. We were running at it. Why we were running at it, I'll never know, but we were running at it.
Yeah,
I
so
think my
backing up
next
a little
sighting,
bit,
I would do it too.
there, you know,
Yeah, it just
we're
that's the way
sitting
it
there.
was.
We're sitting there. We're watching the GoPro footage, and you see Eric way up over here, and then John shows up over here on the right hand side, and you see Eric do the teeter totter thing, and this is all just happening right in front of them. There's a tree where the Bigfoot is. So the Bigfoot is behind this tree. So the GoPro is seeing. You can see John and Eric, but you can't see the Bigfoot.
But yeah,
That's, you know, everybody says, how come you don't get a picture?
There it was.
There's the
So-
guy standing right in front of a tree that the Bigfoot is in front of.
yep.
You know,
That's the thing. When me and
It
my
was a
buddy,
big pine tree too, Don.
I was out with my couple of friends, Jamie King and Jim Sparks, and I swear there was one up hiding behind a tree. I tried to get a picture of it and I couldn't.
they like
And
the
I-
peekaboo.
Yeah, that's what it was doing. I'm positive. And I've been back there a few times and got pictures of that tree, and there was nothing there.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah. But see, at least you went back to look.
yeah.
You know,
Um,
that's the good thing about following through. You know, that's how you end up with casts.
yeah.
You have an experience, and if you get over that, you go back the next day, and you get
Yeah.
physical evidence that proves it
It's
was
all
there.
the information that you can conjure together. So when you go back out, you know, you can share it with
Talk
somebody
about
else.
confirming your story. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck,
Not-
probably a
exactly.
duck.
Gotta be a Bigfoot.
That's the other thing, guys.
Not always a
Yeah,
Bigfoot,
what
but
this
it's a
other
Bigfoot.
place, this one place we've been investigating because the farmer had a sighting, cut in front of him. And we end up going out there, me, Debbie Preggy, and Mary Faven from Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project went to the guy's property. It was Debbie's investigation. She's the one who got the report and all that. But Debbie and I research a lot together. And so we go. Mary's staying back talking to the guy. Me and Deb heads up and toward the woods. We go around his barn and hit the wood line. There's a stream coming down. There's a 15-inch print in this little water stream. It's a runoff stream is what it is. There's a
Right.
15-inch print inside of it. And you can see the toes and everything. It was not a boot print.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've been back several times, and yes, there's sightings of the prints. Never found no structures on his property. But you
Could
go
be
through
just
the
a cut through.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly what it is. You go across the power lines onto the private property, there's structures over there. And it's like, this is a cut through for sure. And
Yeah.
that's what I figured exactly what it was. And
You sit down and are you into maps, topo maps, and things like that?
yeah,
Yeah, I could sit there and just look at them for hours. You know, just
yes,
so when
tells
you
you
do
everything.
that, when you look at topos long enough, you start to visualize what you're looking at. You start to understand in 3-dimensional what you're looking at.
exactly.
It kind of makes sense. So
Yes.
as you're looking at it, you can see on that where might be a pinch point, where's a trap point, where's water, where's this, where's certain things are desert, going to be
Why would
hemlock
it even
areas,
be there?
swamps, things like that.
Yeah.
Just different little things that you're going to do, and you do it all sitting right here at your kitchen table.
Yeah.
Thinking of doing your investigation. Why is it there? What's it doing? What are the resources
It
there?
definitely helps.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it helps.
You're not
Hell of a lot.
wasting a lot of time.
Yeah. It helps a hell of a lot. All right,
Absolutely.
I got a different question for you.
Sure.
Structures.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
That's it. Structure.
well,
Give me your takes on them.
I think they're relevant. I think
They
they're
are.
relevant. A lot of people, I don't know enough about them. Just me, but I think there's a discussion to be had about structures and things like that. Now, mind you, we work in the woods forever.
Yep.
And I can go out here and show you things that have happened over 10, 15 years that you say, in general, looking at it, say, well, how'd that happen?
Yes.
And it took 15 years to accumulate weird shapes and this and that and weaving, but it's there. And I know nothing happened. So for me, stick structures have to be significant. And I actually have one.
They have
It's
to be
with
out of
full
the
twists, full complete twists,
Yeah.
twist and a half, things like that. Eric and I were in Connecticut one time, and there was a huge log, 12, 14 inches around, and it was floating in saplings that were birch saplings, actually. And it didn't grow up and push them. There was no bending or nothing like that. There was no trail to it. Something walked through there and placed this thing in there, and it's sitting there floating. There's no other. It was logged. It's all saplings. There's nothing there.
Yeah, there's no reason for this big log to be there.
And there it is, 6, 7 feet in the air floating, and it's 10, 12 feet long, and it's So,
but we have.
I say floating. It's sitting on the branches. It's sitting on the branches.
But the thing is, a log that size is going to take more than 2 humans to lift up there.
Yeah. Or a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And then to precariously place it without damaging a bunch of stuff.
To have it float to have it sit in the trees like that.
All I could say was, now that's weird. And so that captures my attention. That is really, I can't explain that away so quick.
But New England woods, we get a lot of storms come through, big winds and everything else. So we get all of that. But ice. Now here in Massachusetts, on the western side of the state, we get all kinds of ice storms and all kinds of things.
Right.
But our woods are super thick. They're dark. When you look up, you see canopy, you see trees. When you go to the eastern part of the state, it's not really as dense, and the trees aren't as high. So you can actually see sky, where ours is darkened. So that helps, and that's huge difference. But to look at a stick structure and say, well, what's the difference between that one and that one, or the one over there? Here, I've seen some that are woven in between tree limbs, and that leads to be something to be explained. I mean, there are some things that just don't make sense.
Yes, exactly. How about X's?
I don't know. I could walk outside and show you about a dozen, and they're just random. And so what he says is, why is it relevant? Why isn't that X nature made and a Bigfoot made this one? That's the part I don't understand.
What is the reason for it?
A common X, something small, little, something not so big. Large X's where they're huge trees and things like that. I mean, if there's no root ball and it didn't fall in that direction, then you've got my attention for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Most of the ones there's X's I see, I can debunk.
Yeah, I can
debunk most of them.
Yeah.
The ones that really catch my attention is a 20-foot tree doing that X, but there's a root ball at the top, but no hole in the ground anywhere close.
Yeah, right. Or a whole different species.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in it.
Right.
And
then it's something to consider.
The one area I was researching, I went through a grove of pines. I come back same way. There's an elm branch laying in the middle. No wind. It was not windy. So couldn't snap it off a tree and blow it over there. It was too big, number one. I got pictures of that too. of that branch. And how to get there.
Yeah.
And why is it there? Same area I
Yeah.
walked.
Yeah.
And now I'm wondering about that.
Friends of ours, Richie B and Wojo, they've got an area that's same thing.
Boots on the
Yeah.
ground.
Where the boots on the ground boys.
Yep.
They have the same thing where they've gone out and they've been in their area. Now they know the area like the back of their hand. They're in it all the time, day, night, all the time, 7 days a week sometimes.
Awesome.
And they call them different things. They got the college, they got the high school, they got these things that they believe is what they are. And
Yeah.
they took me out there, and they have some things that
Structures.
they have structures that leave me to just wonder. The possibility is there.
Yeah,
Right.
they've got some bent ones and shapes.
They've got
and things
well.
like
They
that.
took me to this one where they called it the hut, and you can see where these things were. It would look like a hut where you could crawl underneath it.
Right.
Then I look to my left, and there's this tree limb that's got to be 6 inches in diameter, and it's snapped off at least 9 feet in the air. There's no big branch on it. There's nothing, and looks like it was bent down and broken and pushed down on top of these smaller twigs to make those little huts inside. That's
Right.
what it looks like. So, it's kind of hard. I'm looking at it, trying to figure it all out. But I mean, what they've got is it could actually be what they're looking at.
People out there have nests, things like that. So
It's just hard to think that you're going to build a teepee and they're going to live in it.
I don't think they
What's gonna
use
keep
it to live in. I think they use it as camo for when they're
Possibly.
hunting. I'm getting.
Well, that's a
something wrong.
possibility.
Yeah,
That's a good possibility. They could.
I'm getting the bad vibes with some of these because all right, these are human made. These ain't
Right.
but then you come up to some and it's like, wow, they're intertwined.
Yes,
Humans
and I've
use it
seen
to just stick them together.
Yeah, and they do have some things out there that are really that stick structure wise has made me look at things differently. But when you come back here, and even they've said it because they came out here and they were like, "Wow, now we understand why you guys have such a hard time with them because they're everywhere."
a couple winters ago, we had an ice storm.
Yeah,
and this ice storm brought down a whole grove of birch bark trees, white birch, just brought them all down. And then we had 3 feet of snow on top of it. That grove of birch didn't see the daylight until spring, so it was completely bent over. Now all those branches are still growing. The grass is growing, and now it's going to turn into a giant dreadlock, and all those branches are going to be tied down to the ground.
It almost looks like a tunnel now.
Yeah, they're not going to bounce back. They're literally anchored to the ground now.
Yeah.
So,
and that was Mother Nature.
What are people going to say 20 years from now?
Right.
Exactly.
If they didn't see that, we witnessed it. We saw this happen. Now, 20 years from now, somebody goes, "What the heck? This is a." So you have to look at. It's a big, Bigfoot, and it's a big wide brush.
And that's why it's great because Bigfooting and paranormal cryptids, all of that, it opens up. Anything is possible.
Yes.
You're open to
very
it.
much so.
Open-minded.
You're 100% right, Eric. You got
So,
to stay
like Wojo-
open-minded.
Good friends of ours were saying that it's worth the conversation and it's worth being open-minded. Otherwise, you're no longer researching.
Right.
You're a know-it-all. You've got the answer, so you're done.
Yeah.
The research is there. There's plenty of opportunity for research. Whether or not you think it's quirky, dumb, or stupid it doesn't matter because it's whatever they're doing to do the research to get to whatever that end result is.
That's it.
Right. No matter how it gets done, as long as you can get to the end result.
Yep.
Whether it's science,
enjoy the ride along the way.
I told everyone, stay open-minded. I'm still open-minded that Bigfoot could be extraterrestrial, even though I believe it's flesh and blood. But you've got to be open-minded. And I was at this one place. Well, the one place that takes me an hour to go research.
Yeah.
The first time there, the owner of the property decided to call all these people up, say, "Hey, this Bigfooter is coming to research the property. I'm doing a cookout. Come on down." So they made a camping weekend out of it on that property.
But you know, I've had a lot of incidents happen around the campfire.
Oh yeah. I'll guarantee that too. But
Yep.
you got all these people running their mouths, talking and all this. And then this guy showed up and going around pointing his finger in people's faces, says they jump through portals. That's how they do it. That's how they get everywhere. And he's just very matter of factly, very stern, and just pushing his agenda.
Yeah.
And different one says, "You hear what he's saying? Yeah, but what are you going to do about it?" I'm just going to let him talk. I got no problem with it. Till you got to this one old guy, he was about 80 some years old, doing this number in his face. I stood up, walked over toward him. I says, "Excuse me. You're saying they jump through portals?" He went, "Yeah." "You sure?" "Oh, yeah, that's how they do it." I went, "Have you seen a portal?" "No. But that's how they do it." He says, "Yeah." "Have you seen a Bigfoot?" "No." So in other words, that's just your opinion. "No, I'm telling you, no, that's just your opinion. Now sit your ass down and shut up."
Yeah.
Until
Exactly.
you learn to say, "This is my opinion."
That's
Other
it.
than that, your opinion don't mean shit to any of us because
That's
you
it.
don't have proof.
Exactly.
And I turned around, went back and sat down. And everyone started laughing. And one guy says, "You know who he is?" I'm like, "I don't really give a damn." He goes,
Right.
"Armstrong County Commissioner."
Hmm.
"Really?" I just told the county commissioner to shut the hell up and got away with it because he got mad and walked away.
There you go.
Yeah, you can have your opinion, but
You're
don't
right.
force it down someone's throat. Just give your
Exactly.
opinion. If they want to believe it, they can believe it.
Right.
You know,
Yep. They don't have to believe it if they don't want to. That's all
No.
up to them.
Yeah, we're not into trying to prove it.
No.
We just had some experiences, some things that we wanted to share. And if you want to believe it, that's fine. And if you don't, that's fine too. But this is what happened, and it's truthful. It's what happened, and that's just it. It just happens to be with Bigfoot.
yeah, and
So for us, it's not about proving it anymore. It's
No.
really not. It's about a
No.
better experience. I
Yes.
really want the better experience.
can
Absolutely.
you read what Mothman 46 wrote?
Oh man, is real big, but it's for
It's
nerds.
for nerds.
Yeah.
That's a good friend of mine.
I tell you what, that dog man stuff scares the hell out of me. Can you imagine that? I've
Yeah.
got some friends that have said they see it, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
yeah,
took a
I'm
report
thinking
this
Bigfoot
summer.
is,
I took a report this summer, right on the outskirts of town.
yeah.
My friend Jamie took one in Farrell, which is the town next to us, and they've had reports out at South Pay, out to right near my research area,
Yeah.
and I believe they're traveling along the river and coming through because it came up from the river. The report I took and crossed over that dirt trail. You can drive a car down this trail because people drive back there to go fishing. And
Yeah.
it came up and crossed. Now, everything this young man told me, very believable. So, some stories it's like, But Jamie took that one in Farrell where it was up in the alley hitting the garbage cans.
Hmm.
And he says, and that's a very possibility too.
Sure.
And it's right near the river. So I believe they do travel the river, along the river,
Sure.
everything, everything
Wide open,
got to
easy
depend on
access.
water,
Yep. Water.
So that's a different story, and I don't want to run into one.
No.
No, yeah, I've heard different things about them where they're very aggressive and they're not. If they're that aggressive, how are you telling me the story? Number one. And number two,
Got a point.
I don't want to find out.
Right.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Yeah.
but
No, it's just
Yeah.
the whole dynamic, the structure, the whole, the pictures that they show of this thing. I can't even imagine running into something like that. Bigfoot is scary enough.
Yeah.
Now put
you
a
ain't a shit.
dog face on him.
Yeah.
Straight up, guys, you are right. It is scary at 15 feet.
Yeah.
not
And
those
at
dogs
40
that-
yards. And at 40 yards, I know.
Yeah. I got that right.
But people are seeing these things, and
Yeah.
if I expect people to take for what I'm saying for truth or value for what it's worth, then these people are saying the same thing and expecting the same thing. So I take it, for what it's worth. I don't say anybody's crazy. We've had crazy experiences.
We're not the
So,
only things
I'm
or
open to
people
it.
on this planet.
Yeah.
No. And
Been around too long.
like my group's name, Agent of the Unexplained. I cover everything. UFOs, paranormal, cryptids, because I'm into all that. But my biggest thing is Bigfoot.
Yep.
But to see it at 15 feet again, no thank you. At 40 yards, I might be like you. What is, but no.
Yeah. No, I see. I want to get it closer. I want to get a better look.
I want to be.
You were lucky enough to have it. Some people say luck, but some people say you're unlucky. But it's an
I say
experience you'll never forget.
Exactly. And I was fortunate. I wouldn't say I was lucky. I say I was fortunate. To have the sighting.
Yep.
Very unlucky to have it that damn close.
You're right. Exactly. I'll agree to that.
It was very worthwhile, though, because it took me a few weeks to get brave enough to get back out there. But now, and I thought about it, and I thought real heavy. Now I want to know what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, for what reasons they're doing it. I got all these other questions to get answered.
Exactly.
And it's very interesting because
I'll admit that. I will say it took me a while to even talk about it, completely talk about it, because I had to keep running it through my head because I just couldn't. It just didn't make sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me.
exactly.
I knew we've had them, but I did not expect them to be here. But the more research I did, they're here. I want to see one. We need DNA. We need DNA. Now I don't think we need DNA. I saw it. They are real. Now I want to learn more about them.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't need the damn DNA. Where a lot of people
there's plenty
need
of evidence, plenty of stories. There's plenty of empirical stuff that that any other thing would say, yes, this is a probability. But we're in the world of make believe here, so it's cryptozoology, isn't it?
Look how long it is. Look how long it took the government to come out and tell you that there are UFOs.
It's a matter of time.
They're going to do the same thing with Bigfoot. Eventually, they will come out and say maybe.
And
Not in our lifetime.
We have a guy here in town. We won't mention any names, but we're sitting there around the campfire one night, and we're telling stories, and he's telling us he was a cop in town.
Okay.
He's a cop in town. He gets a call, and his buddy's working for the highway department. Apparently, I'll give you the short version. A trucker's coming down the Mass Pike and hits a Bigfoot. The trucker gets out of his truck, goes over to the edge of the road and sees this messed up Bigfoot. And it's right there on the side of the road. It's all messed up. It's not walking or anything. It's messed up.
It's laying there.
The guy drives down the road a bit and he calls 911. I think he got the cops there anyway. State trooper showed up. State trooper shows up. He gets the cop. He says, will you go down there with me? The guy goes down there with him. They see this messed up Bigfoot, and the cop ends up dispatching the Bigfoot. This is his words. He ends up shooting it. I don't remember how many shots either. I don't remember getting into that. He just shot him. Actually, what he did was the cop told the civilian, the truck driver, to walk back to his truck, and then bang, bang, he shot the Bigfoot, and then the cop went back and asked for a pickup truck or a flatbed to get this thing out of here. So I don't know, it was a truck flatbed with a truck crane and a pallet, picked this thing up, put it on a truck and moved it. And then in the end, it was moved by a helicopter, probably dispatched from either Barnes or Westover Air Force Base.
Taken out. Never seen or talked about again.
So, does the government have one? I don't know if this story is true.
I think they do.
From a cop in the highway department.
Well,
the trucker's got nothing to lose.
About 20 minutes down the road from here, about 376, a Bigfoot supposedly got hit. I heard this story 2 times, third-handed.
You're right.
And it was laying on the side of the road. They didn't say medium or the right side, whatever. And it's like, okay. Well, I did a meet and greet type thing. And this lady showed up, and I talked about my experiences and that. And I asked anyone else had any experiences. One guy got up and said a couple things. And then this lady started talking about a couple little experiences she had. And then she turned around and says, my daughter and I was driving back from Youngstown, Ohio, headed down toward Newcastle, PA. And in the medium, on the berm of the medium, there was a Bigfoot that just got hit, and she described it in detail. Wow. And even said how the butt was ripped open from the accident. And I went, ma'am, wait a minute. I went, ma'am, wait a second. Wait, you actually saw this? Oh, yes, I'm not lying. I says, whoa. Reason I'm asking, I heard this story twice, third-handed. You saw it. She went, yeah. I'm telling you, the hairs on my arms, on the back of my neck, standing up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm bouncing.
It just went from third hand to first hand.
Yeah, and then she proceeds to tell me that her daughter says, that was a Bigfoot, wasn't it, Mom? Yes.
Wow.
Let's go back and see if it's alive. No. Which I don't blame her. But
that's funny.
Yeah. But the next day in the paper, they said it was a bear that got hit.
Yeah, of course. Yep. It's always a bear.
Yeah, it's always the bear.
It's always the bear.
Yeah, so things like that get you excited when you hear this stuff.
Yeah.
I posted on a local sale site that I'm into the paranormal and the cryptid, and I'm looking for reports of any ghosts or Bigfoot or any type of sightings. Well, different ones start telling me about ghosts in their houses. Okay, that's no problem. So, lady messaged me to tell me about the Bigfoot that crossed the road in front of them when they was coming back from skating in the middle of February. I'm thinking ice skating, roller skating, and where she was coming back from was Mercer. And I'm thinking, I don't know of any roller skating rinks there. And she told me where across the road at in front of them, her and her cousins. She gets home, she tells her parents tells her, don't say nothing to nobody. You didn't really see it and all this crap. Yeah. And finally I go, when was this? 1962.
That's when I was born.
Wow.
Oh, you're a whippersnapper. 3 years younger than me. But the thing is, that's before the P&G.
Yeah.
Her parents were very adamant not to say nothing. She talked to the farmer that lived behind them. He said, yeah, I've seen him 5 times. I told some people and they think I'm nuts. So I ain't saying no more. But 1962.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, nobody believed it back then.
No. I was 14 years old. 1973. Spring. Nice warm spring day. Bright sun out that morning. We're all at the school bus. I see a UFO up about 3/4 of a mile away from us. I'm telling everyone, look, UFO, UFO. I run in the house. My mom's doing the breakfast dishes at the sink, at the window. I said, look up over quads. There's a UFO. She's looking. She turns around, very dead serious, and says, don't say a word to anybody. But don't say a word to anybody. You're not going to be looking like a fool.
Yeah.
And
that's what happens.
Well, the one guy that lived on up the hill there took a picture of it. He turned it into local newspaper, local news station, and it made a big fuss. People start saying it was a metal trash can lid he threw in the air and took a picture of. I'm 3/4 of a mile away. How in the hell did I see it? And me and him talked about it. He says, I'll never show or report anything like that again. He says, everyone thinks I'm crazy. I ain't crazy. I said, I know you ain't. I saw it. So yeah, I can understand how people think. They don't want to give reports, even to this day, about Bigfoot. Even though Bigfoot's mainstream now.
Right.
It is, and that's helping it actually. We do these library shows and these little, we do meet and greets at like the Beckett Country Store up here in town, and different places like that, little venues. And these little venues actually give, when they see the Bigfoot sign or Bigfoot, the cutouts, whatever we have, it brings them out. And the next thing you know, they're talking to you and they're sharing a story or what if this, or, they're having a conversation about it. Whereas if you weren't there, there wouldn't be that conversation.
Right.
So you're in town with a Bigfoot guy. So people actually, oh, hey guys, that kind
of Mothman's getting on my case now.
It's a rough day when Mothman's bothering you.
Yeah. But what's kind of funny is that I'm doing a meet and greet tomorrow night.
There you go.
Down in New Wilmington at the Writer's Restaurant. And I'm starting them back up again.
Nice.
Like Tim, you probably know that I've been down all summer.
Sure. Yeah.
And I took the whole month of August off of doing anything. And I tell you what, Mothman might say wild and crazy are two different things, thinking I'm just crazy too. But some of the stuff I read on Facebook really, okay. And let me tell you, I started eliminating some people off of my list because some of the stuff they say about the Bigfoot, the cryptids, the paranormal, the whole 9 yards, even though they're supposed to be researchers. Makes you think about it. And I've been so much into getting out researching, going to conferences, planning my conference, my podcast every week.
It's a lot.
And I don't get to see a lot of stuff going on that people were saying.
Yeah.
Well, I did, being down for the summer. I did. And it's just like, I can't believe this crap. It really disgusts me because, we're supposed to be working together. And these people are in it for the fame. Well, that 15 minutes of fame don't mean shit to me. No, it really don't.
We simply got into it because people started asking us about what we were doing.
Yeah.
And they started.
They're curious.
asking us questions about it. He says, hey, you guys actually have a story. So turns out we've been asked numerous times to go off. We've done the podcasts and whatnot, and a bunch of different expeditions. So we've just been exposed to the opportunity for different experiences or encounters.
Right.
Like in Connecticut, we had an encounter or an experience where it was a whistling. This year was a church group, actually, we were working with. Yeah. And they'd come in. We were doing a program. We're on a privately owned mountain. There's no one out there. It's a private school. And they go up to the top of the mountain and they do a Bible study. And they come down. They're having dinner. And during dinner, all of a sudden, this whistle sound like a police car at its highest level, as loud as a police car, for 4 or 5 seconds, and then it was done. It was like a one and done.
And they just came down, so they know there's nothing up there. There's no person, there's no siren, there's no volunteer horn, there's nothing.
Yeah.
And they just came down from doing their whatever it is that they do up there for their Bible study, and they came down and we were giving them dinner. And I was making a cup of coffee, and that whistle happened. And I looked at the pastor, his eyes were like saucers. Yeah. And I looked over at Tim, and we just looked at each other, and he goes, yep, Bigfoot. And he came over on the ark.
I told him he came over on the ark. Oh,
yeah.
No.
What? No. Moses asked his family, have you guys seen the Bigfoots?
Yes.
No, we haven't seen them. But no, seriously, the thing is, for these non-believers becoming believers, and I was a believer becoming a knower.
Right.
Yeah. And
right.
I've met plenty of skeptics out there, and I had several come out on campouts with us, and they became believers. I had a young man that came, and he did not believe at all. He just came so he can do the fishing because we were camping at Saltport. Do some fishing, hiking, and that. He found a handprint, Bigfoot handprint. I gave him casting materials. I had Tom Fetterman to go with them. Tom's an experienced researcher. I asked him if he'd go down with them. Tom took pictures of it, come back up. I says, that looks like a handprint. I'm not sure, though. He said, well, he's casted it, so we'll get it out tomorrow and look at it.
When in doubt, cast it.
Yeah. It was a handprint.
Yeah.
Now that kid's a believer. And my last camp out I had, he was there. And the one before that, he was there. He's back out there. And he's a father-in-law just passed away that always brought them out to the camp out. And he brought a bunch of his friends with him. And he got them talking to come to Bigfoot. Yeah. And they were non-believers, and I'm glad. And I told him, I says, do your research.
Yep.
I said, but watch who you research with. If you're YouTubing it, watch it. Because there is some just out there that BS you.
Yep.
And there's plenty that just don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
It's limited experience in the woods. And you can tell simply because people with experience can explain these things away. Well, or at least make it not a possibility.
And I'm going to give you an example of someone not to watch. And that is the guy from out west. His YouTube podcast is, or not even podcast, he does a YouTube thing all the time. The Bigfoot Expert.
The Bigfoot Expert.
That's what he goes. That's his YouTube. And I guess he has a Facebook page. I cannot watch it. And you know why. I know you guys know why.
Yeah.
None of us are damn expert.
I was just going to say, who's the expert in our field?
Yeah,
we
it doesn't work that
we
way.
got a bunch of guys with a lot of experience and
Yes.
some particular encounters, but experts, I don't know if we're going to go there, but we
Yeah.
no experts that I know of.
And
There's some professionals in the Bigfoot field, like Dr.
Yeah.
Meldrum, things like that.
Yes.
There's professionals in the field,
yes. And here's
Bigfoot
the other
expert.
thing. Here's the other thing. I was invited to talk at this one conference, and there's some pretty well-known names.
Mhm.
And I told Fred Saluga, I said, I'm very honored I was asked to speak with them. I says, he goes, why? I says, because they're known, they're great researchers and that. He says, they should be honored to be speaking with you.
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about? Yeah. He says, you saw a Bigfoot. None of
Right.
them did yet.
There you go.
That's right.
Oh. Well, yeah. But still, I'm honored to be speaking with these big name
Right.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, I know how you feel.
Yeah. And it was an honor to be speaking with them.
Absolutely.
And I became really good friends with one, and that's
Yeah.
Wes Odell
That's good.
from West Virginia.
Yep.
And I call him the ultimate researcher. He does the library. He does the internet. He checks see if there's any other sightings in that area.
Right.
And he looks for everything. And then he
Sure.
goes and talks to the people and have them take them to the area. And
That's what
He
it's all
does it.
about.
yeah, and he gets the whole feel and knowledge of the whole thing. And he's awesome. And he's
Exactly.
very down to earth gentleman. He takes
Well,
his
that's what we're doing here on the East Coast. We are Richie and Wojo, and a few of us got all together. We're trying to get a group together.
Just doing
Boots on the
research.
ground investigation and doing all of New England, and we're trying to get investigators in each state, so we can collaborate with each other and put all this information together and see what's going on.
My nephew and his daughters were all up in Connecticut. Well, him and his wife, Salvation Army officers. His daughters were getting a reward up there in Connecticut, so my brother-in-law, me, and my wife all went up for that to see the girls get the awards, not rewards, awards.
Right.
And I don't know how anyone can live up there. Seriously, those people drive like idiots.
They're called
109
assholes.
Yeah, that too. 109 miles an hour, and I'm trying to keep up with them.
Yeah.
And they're passing me. And they don't give a shit if they pass you on the berm.
Nope. There's an open lane.
Big hurry. Big hurry.
Yeah. But no, it was totally, that was an experience up there, let me tell you. I'm glad I was there for the weekend only. But but yeah,
Nice.
the New England states, it got a lot of history up there, paranormal wise too.
Yes,
Sure.
it does.
Along with the Bigfoot. So
Yep.
And I
And
definitely
all
got to get
starts
up
right
there.
here.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And I need to get up there. And it's going to be soon, but not too soon.
Hey, you come up, you
Yeah,
give us
yeah.
a holler. We'll be glad to go out with you.
Oh, darn tootin', I'll be giving you a holler.
Give us a holler.
You guys know the area. I don't.
We'll try to take you to some really good spots.
Same
Come
down
up June
this way.
7th and we'll take you to the festival.
There you go.
June what?
June 7th. June 7th, 25, we'll have the festival. In
I
June.
got to double check and see when Marionville, Forest County is, because I'll probably be back up there. But
Sure.
I'll make
sure.
a plan to come see yours.
It's an open invitation.
We plan on being here for a while, so it's not just about a Bigfoot thing. It's youth outdoor education.
Right.
So it's
Yes.
a fundraiser that goes completely different other than Bigfoot. Bigfoot
But
is
it's
the
to bring,
vehicle
right.
that gets the youth outdoor education.
But the
attention.
festival is to bring out everybody. Bigfoot,
Yes.
paranormal, UFO, bring them all out.
Yeah.
Because
That's
we don't
on-
get a lot of that here.
That's June 7th.
June 7th, 2025. Yep. So we
And
already
when
got
you
our
start,
speakers. Go ahead.
make sure you put it in my group,
All right.
the date and everything.
All right.
For it.
Absolutely.
Definitely. We will support it. Even if
Excellent.
I can't make it up, we'll still support you.
Excellent.
Get everyone to support it. You know,
That's
There we
it.
go.
I got
That's how it's done.
yes, it is. But anyhow, we've been at this for 2 hours, guys.
Wow.
There's a piece of cake.
It's that
See?
damn coffee Tim's drinking.
High test.
Yeah.
If Ernie's still awake, Ernie will brew you another pot.
Now, all right. Is there anything else you like to tell the people about what you doing? Go and be doing whatever.
Well, Cobble Mountain Critter Festival. That's June 7th, 2025. We got a good speaker lineup from Dave McCullough, Pedikov, Gene Tewksbury. There's
Mike Trainer.
the banter guys there, Richie
Richie
B
and
and
Wojo.
Wojo, say Mike Trainer and
Josh Ellis.
Josh Adia.
Gosh, Al?
He's another podcaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might so anyways, that's going on. We've got a number of libraries we're doing. The libraries we do, most everything we do is free. You come to a public event and they're pretty informative. It's kind of like a town hall. We go in, we tell a story, and depending on the time frame, we stop and we give enough time for interaction. So there's people out there coming to this to want to probably share their story. So we make sure
That's what the whole reason
Time
is.
Yeah,
Is to get
exactly.
information.
And I don't charge for when I speak at these things.
no, there's
No.
no charge.
Just give me a table so I can sell some of my wares to make up the travel cost. That's all. And if 9 times out of 10, you don't make enough up anyhow. But I love hearing the people's stories, the whole 9 yards.
Yes,
when we do these things.
absolutely. Yes.
Like here, just last month, we did the Mercer County Historical Society. And it was a packed house. And they did a Facebook Live that had tons of people
wow.
on it.
Nice.
And I was just honored they asked us to do this.
Sure.
And then I go, can I bring some friends in?
Mhm.
And they go, yeah. I says, because I got a couple people that can speak that investigated this area, the county, more than I have, a lot longer. And we had such a great response with that.
Good.
That's
it was
awesome.
crazy. And,
That's what it's all about.
Yep. And the people interacted with us and asked questions and
And that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We hit the libraries, the country store, campgrounds.
We're looking for reports.
Whatever's wherever we can get out there and talk to the people, that's where we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Because
That's
they
awesome.
have the stories and they need a vessel to tell it. And we're
Yes.
the ones that'll do it for them.
Yes, and that's the thing. We need to tell the story and get the stories out there, and
Sure.
have people relay their stories to us.
Exactly.
And I'm like I said right along, it's all about sharing,
Yep.
and that's what we need to do.
If you let those people know that you're out there, they'll come to you. When they feel comfortable, they'll come to you. They really will. You just got to make sure that you're out there so they can find you.
Yeah, I just had a lady send me a report completely out of the blue, and she's at the Quabbin Reservoir, and she's what I thought was going to be a cryptid story turned out to be like a Mothman story, and it was even smaller than that. It was a fairy. These were not translucent, but a brilliant white fairy. 3 or 4 inches high, and there were multiple, like 10 or 12. And they were coming down a trail at this lady, and she was right next to the lake. And they went straight into the lake like there wasn't even a dimension. It was just like flying and went right into the water. She watched them flying in through the water, like, and I'm oh boy, this is a hard pill to swallow. But there it is, you know. She says she saw this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, take it for what it's worth, right? Fairies.
Yeah. They're out there. Jamie King
Yep, I
and his
heard
wife
stories
Jenny's
on 'em.
been researching that. And
I've
they
heard
got some
stories on 'em.
stories with that. Yeah. So, yeah.
So
And
I
whenever,
guess my point is, the more we're out there talking about, it will bring these people out in their comfort
Yes.
level, and they start to share their stories.
You get boots on the ground, get out there and do the work. It's the rewards that you'll get in the end.
that makes it well worth it.
Absolutely.
Makes it well. You know, at the one meet and greet I did, it was one of the lowest attendance that we had, where I didn't have to stand up in front. I just went around talking to everybody at their tables.
Yeah.
Well, this couple came in, and as soon as they come walking past, I was standing out front talking to my one buddy that was having a cigarette before we went back inside. And he goes, "We're here, but I'm not saying nothing." Okay, that's fine. You don't have to speak. And that, I said, just go in through the door, go to your right. We're in there, in that room there. So they go on in. We're talking, and I says, it doesn't look like we're going to have enough people to really do much. I'm just going around talking to the people. They said, why not? And that's what I did. We only had like 7, 8 people there. I get over to him and his wife, and I says, well, I'm the Bill Wrigley. I'm the one that runs all this. And that explained to him. And he goes, well, I'm still not talking. I said, you don't have to. His wife says, he's seen one. I said, let me tell you about my experience. I sit down and I start telling him. After I got done, he had tears in his eyes, start telling me his story.
There you go.
You know, and I said, you know, I'm going to tell you straight out, I was scared too when I had my sighting.
Yeah. I
says, and I still get choked up at times over it. I said, so don't feel embarrassed for getting choked up right there. Me and him became good friends. We became good friends. He supports the group and everything. And he was able to open up and get
That's
a load
what he
off
needed.
his chest. Yes, exactly.
And you
I'm
were the perfect vehicle to do it with.
Yes. And that made me feel so good that he was able to open up.
Yeah.
And that's what having these things do. Is to help other ones. And you guys too. You know, get the stories, let them speak it out, and it helps them.
Right. It's not just a bunch of old guys doing this squatching stuff. There's a bunch of kids that are going to be the future researchers, and they're going to have experiences.
Yeah.
You know, how they deal with it, how they interact with the woods, their skill levels going through it, the confidence levels they need, all that stuff.
Right.
So
that's what we're here for.
You know, they go to these festivals, and it builds that confidence.
Yeah. Daniel Lee Barnett from England.
Yep.
Have you heard of him?
Yep.
All right. Now that kid, and I'd say he's the future of the research. There's this other kid over in Harlem. He's the other one. He goes out in the middle of the night by himself, camp out there, and the whole 9 yards researching by himself.
Yeah.
16 years old.
Dedicated.
That's Adele's son, Mason, is another one that goes out researching with his dad. You know, he's only like 8 years old now, 7, 8 years old. He's my little buddy. Whenever I know they're watching, I always say hi to Mason.
And whenever you can get the younger generation out, the better off you are.
Yes. Get them the hell out of the house and off the computers.
And show them that there's other things out there, you know. Come out and enjoy it, if nothing else.
Just take a kid fishing.
My oldest grandson kind of bitched at me because we didn't go do things this summer, hiking and that. I says,
Right.
really?
Under the
You're
weather.
bitching at me about this? He went, yeah, we were supposed to. I went, let's see. I spent about 3 weeks in the hospital this summer.
Yeah.
I says, my health, you saw how bad I was. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Because he's my hiking partner.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And my oldest grandson did the same thing. He says, we didn't do nothing this year, I was like, oh my God, you're right. Yeah. And that, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Got to make time.
Do it. I just couldn't do it. So
I know you couldn't.
Yeah.
I know you
I
couldn't.
feel bad.
Tough. Yeah.
I feel bad. And the toughest part of it all was me sitting on my ass a lot and laying in my bed a lot. That's not me. So
yeah, but that's recovery. That's healing.
Yes, and
it's the second part of it. But that's
the third time in the hospital. The third time in the hospital, I made up my mind. I'm doing exactly what the doctor says. I'm not pushing it. I'm not going back out just because I'm feeling better. And that's what kept bringing me right back down. I almost died in June, so it ain't worth it to me.
No. No, we want you sticking around. We'd rather have you doing some couch squatching and doing what you're doing now until you get good and healthy, and then get out there.
I'm about 85%, so I'm almost ready to get out there.
There you go.
Yeah. So we'll
One
go
step
from
at
there.
a time.
Yes. But anyhow, guys, stick around. Go end the show. Thank you, everyone, for being out there. Of course, you can catch it again on YouTube and on the Agents of the Unexplained podcast page. Since StreamYard and Facebook don't agree on sending these lives to private groups.
Interesting.
Somebody must have been doing porno and they got busted. But anyhow, thank you guys very much. Stick around.
Thank you for tuning in to the Agents of the Unexplained. Please visit our website at agentsoftheunexplained.net for unique paranormal merchandise like t-shirts, books, and coffee mugs. Join our Facebook group and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more thrilling content. Until next time, keep questioning the unexplainable.